What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Linksvue podcast. Coming with you with another course review where we talk about Pine Needles Lodge and Golf Club in Southern Pines, North Carolina. I'm Trent, here with my buddy Eric, and Eric's going to get us going talking a little bit about Pine Needles.
Yeah, so as you said, Pine Needles Lodge and Golf Club here. It got an 8.9, which is our second highest to date, just short of Mid Pines, which we talked about last time.
Yep.
So great golf course. It is a Donald Ross design, 1927. But again, Kyle France came in and sort of redid all of the Southern Pines trio. He's working on Southern Pines right now. But he did this one in 2007.
Yep.
And the price ranges from $95 to $245, so it gets
a little
steep.
Stiff.
Yep. And we had some highlight holes at 3, 4, 13, and 16. And then we've been kind of messing around with this post-round pint idea, and Dugan's Pub is a definite must.
Had a great night at Dugan's.
You did.
Wish I remembered it.
Yeah, you did. So let's get into it, man.
Yeah, it's a great course, and to talk about the price a little bit too, kind of before we jump. We did the replay rate, which if you get there early enough in the day, I think it's totally worth it. I think we paid $250.
Yep.
And it was we got 2 tee times, so kind of all you could play.
Yep.
So we went off around like 10 and then played in the afternoon. So that was definitely worth it. I'm glad we played it a second time because it's definitely one of those courses down there that is extremely playable and it's extremely fun, and also some of the nicest conditions you'll probably play.
Yeah.
So that was a great kind of breakdown for us. I think they only do that deal kind of during the peak season. I don't think you can do it, before April. But definitely was great. But
yeah, I definitely ask about it either way. Like just if it's available, ask about it because I think it made a big difference in our day.
Yeah, the clubhouse is great. It's a massive clubhouse, and with the lodge as well attached to it. A lot of history there. Has held a couple LPGA U.S. Opens, which coincidentally I watched after we got back. Christy Kerr won in 2007, I think it was. Yeah, and it's a great attraction for the LPGA Tour, and I know they're going back there next year.
Yep.
Yeah, which will be awesome. So maybe we'll COVID bearing, we'll be able to go down maybe and go watch a little bit. But it's a great track. We had a lot of fun. For mid handicappers, I think it's extremely playable, especially playing the shorter tees. A couple beasts of holes, but extremely fun to kind of get out. Clubhouse was great. Like I said, a lot of history. The restaurant, which is in there, which we had lunch at, was great, and a great pro shop. A lot of fun, great staff, a lot of great apparel. They're big Peter Millar guys there, so it was.
Here you go with the apparel again,
dude.
This is going to be a theme throughout. I have a feeling. Trent's
probably
like a kid in a candy shop every time he sees a golf shirt.
I just appreciate a good selection. I'll say that
they did. They had a good selection.
They had a fantastic selection, and they get you because they just have all 4 seasons. And even though you're down there in North Carolina, where it doesn't get too terribly cold, they know the Midwest.
We were there for we walked in the pro shop for 2 minutes. You come up and you're like, dude,
the vest selection there was fantastic. And it's a great logo too, man. They got good stuff down there.
Well, so let's talk about the rest of the lodge a little bit because I don't think you undersold it, but it is massive.
Oh, it's huge.
Yeah, and there is the huge dining hall.
Yeah.
And it's like you said, it's old. I mean, we're talking 1927. I don't know when the actual lodge was built, but there's some rooms that were secret rooms. It's
I wish usually they let you kind of walk around, but with COVID we really couldn't go into the game room and some of those other areas that are really popular for players.
Yeah.
Locker room and stuff was great. You kind of feel the history when you're in there, but hopefully next time we go down, restrictions.
There's a cool bar with a balcony that overlooks the practice facilities, which we definitely need to talk about too, because it's sits on top of the massive practice green.
Yeah.
Where I think David Orr is the guy. He's the putting guru.
Yeah.
Which
there's all of his
I was referred to because I'm the worst putter on the face of the earth. So they're like, hey man, you should check out David Orr.
Yeah,
maybe you'll stop 3-putting every hole. But so that's they have a lot there. They have True Spec. They have a full True Spec barn. They just put in. It wasn't there. It was under construction when we were there, but apparently it's done now. Is this loop they have, which is 4 practice holes that goes around the practice facility.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the whole 9 yards. I mean, where Mid Pines was sort of, I guess, modest in that way, and when it wasn't, in your face, like we're the nicest course on earth kind of thing. Pine Needles is very much like we're a serious place. You're at a golf haven here, and we want you to know that.
Yeah, the clubhouse is really cool, and then like you said, with the restaurant kind of out, overlooking, because one tee kind of sits over to the left, and then the putting green, and then the range is really cool as well. They have kind of the big overhang for the mats, obviously probably when it's raining or it's a little bit earlier in the season, and then they have the big open grass tees area where you can practice before the round. But the putting green was really cool. I really enjoyed it. You'll probably won't find a better practice putting green in the area. Different looks, different lengths of putts. They had like 30 cups out there, so you're able to get a lot of guys on there working and getting ready for the round. But it's a really cool kind of area before you even get out onto the course. Something we got to talk about too before we get to the course, and this is going to take a few minutes, but talking about the starter, we have to talk about him because this is a little bit of an elaborate story. So obviously Donna Ross course, as a lot of courses down there are, and we're on one tee getting ready to tee off, and the starter drives up, and we didn't even get his name. I don't think we even knew his name.
I don't know if he was real.
Yeah,
to be honest.
We have a conspiracy that he's a ghost, and we'll talk about that. But he comes up and typical starter talk. Where are you guys from? How long you here? Where are you playing? All that stuff. So great small talk. Last thing he says before he drives away is good luck. Hope you figure out those Ross greens. Best of luck to you. So it kind of sets the tone that we're going to get beat up a little bit.
Allegedly.
Whether
or not he actually did that is all up for debate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So he drives off into the mist, and we don't see him the rest of the day. So I'm going to jump to the following day because we're going over to play over at Pinehurst, and we're at the track, which we'll talk about at some point, and having breakfast, which is a must. And we walk in, and that same dude is just sitting in the corner of the restaurant.
Mm. Allegedly.
Yeah. Literally just sitting there. And we immediately recognize him. And we already had talked about the day before, how we didn't even think he was real.
Yeah.
It was just a figment of our imagination. But he came up and asked us, did you figure out those Ross greens yet?
And then he was gone.
And then he just left.
Yep.
And it was just the most crazy experience ever. But anyway, now that that's out of
it was the ghost of the ghost of Sam Snead.
Yeah, it was, dude. He was
some ancient golfer that from years past, the Ross greens are just haunted him to this day.
I think we could go down there and sit there for 3 days. I don't know if we'd ever see him again.
No.
I don't think. I think that was just the most wild scenario ever. But long story short, he was right. I mean, when you're talking about the course, I mean, it's not tight. It's some holes are tight, but you don't feel overwhelmed off the tee. You don't feel overwhelmed on the par fives. You don't feel like you're playing, a long, super long hole. But the greens are just some of the toughest you'll play. I mean, the amount of 3 putts and 4 putts we had out there probably was just sickening if we went back and watched it on film. But a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it.
It makes for some difficult par threes, I would say.
Yeah.
Their iconic hole is number 3.
3, yep.
That short. I mean, I had a wedge in my hand, and it's not long, but it is huge downward sloping green that you're firing into, and I ended up in the back bunker with a downhill green in front of me, and I mean, I think I made a 6 the first time around. I struggled the first time around. I mean, that course ate me alive that first round, but then coming back around, we'll get to you feel like you kind of get your bearings a little bit. It's not as intimidating.
Yeah, the first 18, that's a course you just gotta take don't take lightly, but just kind of play within yourself, not try to get too crazy. That was kind of my mindset when out there. I played pretty well the first 18 that we played, and I just hit a lot of comfortable shots. Laid up, hit to the center of the green. Don't try to go at a lot of pins because whether you're 2 feet off the green in the rough and have an impossible chip into a downslope, or if you try to go at the stick and get above the hole and you got a 5-foot slippery fast as hell birdie or par putt. So just playing at the center of the green and being confident that you're going to be able to get it close and 2-putt, you can get around there extremely easy. I think the par fives were extremely scoreable. The par threes are difficult, and I think all the par threes are kind of the highlight of the course. It's a different type and style of a hole, but they're extremely difficult. I don't know. I think I parred one of them on the first 18. The second time around, I don't think I parred any of them. So they're tough. But I think the par fives are where you can make up a little bit of ground. Relatively, straight and not super long. And if you can get, in a good spot in 2 shots, you're going to be, just fine. But yeah, man, those mid pines and pine needles, those greens are just a different.
You can tell
beast.
that pine needles kind of getting out there. You can tell it's hosted some serious tournaments over the years. It's a well manicured golf course from a conditioning perspective. It's a tournament course for sure.
For sure.
It's you can tell that it was set up for that sort of thing.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying a little bit? It's like the style of holes, the conditioning, you're like, this is the real deal out here.
I would really, really like to go out there for the Women's U.S. Open. I think that'd be a lot of fun to watch. I'm also interested just to see how they manicure the course. I mean, the rough, I think it was fair, but I think if you grew that stuff out a little bit, that would become an extremely, extremely difficult course. One thing I will say, the pin locations were extremely difficult the day we were out there.
They were.
It was a lot of, approach shots into, a lower, front of the green pin location. And as you know, with Ross, a lot of false fronts. So it was difficult to hold some of those holes. I don't know if we just got out there on, location 3 day and that's just where they beat you up. But it was. But I would really like to go out there and watch, like you said, a tournament, because I think it'd be a really, really fun course to watch, the professionals play on.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Can we talk about me going nuclear on the?
You did, dude. That was one of the better rounds of, and we have a funny story about this, so I'll tell it. He was playing probably one of the better rounds I've ever seen you play. And I think 16.
It was electric.
Oh, yeah, you were playing great. You were like even on the back. I was like, holy, you're about to shoot 75.
Yeah, I was about to send in my application to the tour.
Yeah, exactly. You were killing it. And I think it's 16. Don't quote me, but the last par 3, I think it's 16. And you get up there and like it just hit you that you were playing well. Like you ever getting around, you're like, oh shit, I pieced together 4 or 5 pars in a row. Like here we go.
And I can see you're putting the blame on me. Like, I see where this is going.
No, I mean, I'll take the blame. That's fine. But it hit you that you were, like, a couple holes away from probably careering, playing really well. And you're just pacing on the tee box. I mean, we're waiting for the green to clear, and you're just back and forth. And our other buddy, Derek, who was with us, looks at me and goes, dude, what is he doing? What is he doing? And I made a comment that I probably shouldn't have said because I probably jinxed you, and I will eat that. But I go, he's just trying to avoid the catastrophic triple bogey. And
would you like to tell them what I scored?
And then he made a 6 on the par 3.
Dude, really nice. That was one of your better moments.
Dude, honestly, I feel bad about that, but at the same time, you got in your head a little bit. You were like, okay, this is going off. But you played great, and that's what's great about pine needles, in my opinion, is if you're an amateur and you can get off the tee and be within yourself, you can score out there. Like you can play extremely
That's what
well.
I was going to say. If you're on, if you want to like really see how good you're at, because it'll beat you up if you're not on. Yeah. But if you are on, there's some gettable holes. You can score and you can have a good time.
And I think that's a big, comparison between mid pines and pine needles is if I was at mid pines and I wanted to shoot 80 at mid pines, I'd have to play the best golf I was playing, ever. At pine needles, I feel like you can get away with a little bit more, and the greens are difficult and, all that stuff. But I felt like, for amateurs, you can play a really good game out there, even making a few mistakes. And I think that's what made it so appealing to us, because we finished that day and we were like, dude, how does it get any better than that?
Yeah.
It was just a great, great track.
Yeah, it is. It is. And in comparison, so we did Tobacco Road a couple days later, and you'll hear about Tobacco Road on a different podcast, but the contrast between the two, where it was like, this is like, Pine Needles this is like serious golf.
World class golf.
This is You're at like I said, a golf center here. Yeah. Where Tobacco Road was kind of letting you go play around in the playground a little bit.
Wild West. Yeah, it's a lot different, but I enjoyed it a ton, like you said, because not only is it kind of a mecca of golf, and it's a great facility, but I feel like for players like us that just love the game, love to play, and just have a good couple hours out there, you can play well. Yeah, it's scoreable.
So I guess kind of wrapping up, putting a bow on this one. Yeah. we gave it the second highest score we've given a course. So it is a great course. I would say if you're in the area, most people are there for Pinehurst.
Yep.
So if you're there for Pinehurst, I would squeak it in. I would try to find a way to get to Pine Needles. I'd try to find a way to at least include one of the 3 Kyle France redesigned Southern Pines trio into your trip.
Yep.
I mean, it is steep. So it's like we said, it gets up to 245. Is it worth 245? It'd be hard for me to pay $245 for an 18, but like you said, if you can get on the replay rate and get 36 holes out of it for a little bit more than that, I think it would be a good place to check out if you're in the area. I think you're going to get what you pay for there. You're going to get the best conditions. You're going to get some really fun holes. You're going to get the full kind of carpet rolled out for you from a clubhouse, a lodge, a practice green.
Might see a ghost. Never
You
know.
might see a ghost. So yeah, I mean, I think this one definitely gets our stamp of approval. I look forward to going back again.
Yeah, man, I'm excited to play it again. And like we said, I think we benefited from playing it twice because we got to kind of get out there and get familiar and then go do it again. And I definitely recommend that. But yeah, we'll play it again, hopefully a few more times and maybe get down there for a tournament or 2. But yeah, man, it's a great course and definitely recommend it in the area.
All right, guys, go
Awesome.
launch them.
Awesome.
See ya.